everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is my first car rant of the new year 2022, and I've got a very special topic to talk about today. Now, as many of you know, my favorite brand is Koenigsegg. I'm a massive Koenigsegg fan, and anything they do, I want to know about. I always attract my attention. They are the coolest brand. They build the neatest stuff, and by far my favorite car manufacturers. You could probably tell by my awesome limited edition Koenigsegg Regera poster, which is actually signed by Christian von Koenigsegg. I mean, that's pretty cool, I have to say. Now, recently they caught my attention with a certain Instagram post saying their 2022 New Year's resolution is something or other, but mainly they had a silhouette of perhaps a new car model on there. So we're going to talk about that today. So now, I don't really follow Instagram all that much, but Koenigsegg is an exception. Everything they do always just blows my mind. The Regera with the single gear transmission, the Jesko with their crazy light speed transmission, and just everything about the Gemera is groundbreaking. Fantastic cars. On their Instagram page here, they released a picture, and with it, "Dear 2022, here's our New Year's resolution. More ultimate performance through clever engineering and optimal design." Here we go with this picture next to it. All right, so this is sort of a silhouette and what can only be a brand new model, right? I mean, if it was something we've already seen, they would have just shown the whole picture, but with that caption, 2022, here's our New Year's resolution, and that picture, there's got to be a new Koenigsegg model, right? And that got me thinking, well, what new model would we see? And so I have a few theories about that we're going to talk about today. Currently, Koenigsegg is in the process of producing two models. They have the Jesko, and then you have the Attack, which is a track version, and the Absolute, which is the top speed version. They're both going to be made together. It's still the Jesko, and then customers can opt if they want the Absolute or if they want the Attack. Second model, they're making the Gemera, which is their four-seater sort of GT car. They're going to be making 125 Koenigsegg Jeskos and I think 350 Koenigsegg Gemeras, right around that. So the Gemera, I think it's going to cost like 1 point something million, and then the Jesko is like $3 million. So they got sort of their two models. You know, prior to that, you had the Agera RS and the Regera, sort of the same thing, your track focus car and then your GT car. So they're still in the process of making those, which leads me to believe that this is absolutely not a replacement for either one of those. You'd think that they would first start producing the car and then maybe start developing a replacement. I don't think this is a replacement for either the Gemera or the Jesko. The second thing I was looking at is the silhouette we got. It looks very, I don't want to say conservative, but compared to the Jesko, it looks a lot calmer. You know, if you look at the silhouette of the Jesko, it's wide, it's low, it's got fins, it's got wings, it's like crazy hypercar track focus on the Attack anyway. That's like their top model. But if you look at that silhouette compared to this one, it's a lot sleeker, it's a lot, you know, it is a little bit more conservative. And that got me thinking, I think that this is a new segment Koenigsegg is going to be into. Now, something that one of the articles I saw talking about this car is that 2022 is actually the 20th anniversary of the CC8S, which I guess came out in 2002, which is Koenigsegg's first model. And if you look at the similarities here, if you look at the CC8S silhouette and then look at this new model, they're very similar. They have similar proportions, similar lines, all of that. Now, that could just be Koenigsegg's traditional design language. All Koenigseggs have similar lines to this, but just that the proportions line up that well. I'm wondering if this is going to do a few callbacks to the CC8S, and we'll get back to that later. With, like I said, Koenigsegg's model range, you have your track focus car, you have your GT car. What is this new car going to be? I don't think it's going to be something more track focused than the Jesko. I don't think that's physically possible right now to be more track focused than the Jesko Attack, and it's not going to be a top speed car because Koenigsegg already say that the Jesko Absolute is their fastest car they're ever going to make. It's supposed to go over like 500 kilometers an hour, which I think is like 310 miles an hour. I could be wrong, but it's ridiculously fast. They say that they don't need to make a car faster than the Jesko Absolute. It doesn't look like another four-seater car like the Gemera, and why would they make another one of those? It doesn't make any sense. Here's my theory, okay? I think this is going to be a lightweight sports car from Koenigsegg, focused mainly on driving feel rather than performance. Here's why I think this. First off, the styling, like I said, is a bit more conservative. Typically with like a sports car, you don't have a lot of downforce. You want more mechanical grip than aero grip. This car doesn't look like it has any crazy wings on it, so that could be the case there. Typically, in your model range, the less expensive cars don't look as insane as the most expensive cars, because that's the whole selling point. You want the more expensive car. For comparison, if you look at the Aventador and then the Huracan, you can tell easily which one is the more expensive car. This one looks more like the Huracan than it does the Aventador. I think it's going to be sort of a lower down car than the Jesko, which means it's probably going to be a little less expensive. It's not going to be as fast, but then what do you get? I think you get more sports car feel. That's going to be its main focus. And I think they're going to do this in a few ways. One thing is lightweight. The Jesko is light. It's almost under 3,000 pounds. But if Koenigsegg works really hard to focus on lightweight more than power, they can easily, I think, get this car under the 3,000 pounds, which is obviously what you want in a sports car. And again, the dimensions, it looks a lot smaller than the Jesko, and I think that's going to play into that. It's a lightweight sports car focused on driving pleasure. And another thing I think that they might do with this is a naturally aspirated engine. Now, Koenigsegg has never made a naturally aspirated engine before. All of their cars have been forced induction. The first Koenigsegg's had 2 centrifugal superchargers, and then later they went to twin turbocharging and all of that. But they've recently, with the Gemera, actually put a production version of their free valve technology, which is totally variable valves. You can do crazy stuff with it. That's how they get 600 horsepower out of a 3-cylinder in the Gemera with the free valve technology. I think they can apply that to their V8, keep it naturally aspirated. You can keep the weight down. You can get that super good response of a naturally aspirated engine, and then you're not making thousands and thousands of horsepower, but you get the response and the nature that you want in a sports car, which comes from a naturally aspirated engine. I really think that that might happen, and that would be a great way to separate the two cars from the Jesko to whatever this new car would be, is to make it naturally aspirated, which would be a huge appeal. I mean, the Corvette Z06 just came out with a naturally aspirated V8, and everybody went crazy. You know, that's not the norm anymore. Everything is turbocharged, and they could really stand out with a naturally aspirated engine. And of course, with the free valve technology, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, and you could probably make tons of horsepower still, but not as much as obviously the twin turbo Jesko. It would fit right in there. Now, there's one more thing I think they might put in this car to really distinguish it as a sports car, a driving car, more so than the absolute performance of the Jesko, right? A manual transmission. Imagine if they put a manual in this car. For one, the original CC8S only came with a manual. And then later, the CCX, you could also get a manual transmission, but then later when the Agera came out, that only came with an automatic. If the focus of this car is purely driving pleasure, come on, at least an option for a manual would be insane. And if that's true, this would be probably my favorite car of all time. If you can get a Koenigsegg with a naturally aspirated engine, super lightweight, focused on you know, driving pleasure, and with a manual, that's got to be the best combination ever put in a car. So that's my theories anyway. Let me know what you guys think. Just a short video, but I really think that this Koenigsegg could be something special. Just based on the the dimensions and what we see from that picture, I think it could really fit in Koenigsegg's lineup as a lightweight sports car, and perhaps not quite as expensive as their other hypercars. So that's really all I had to talk about today. I can't wait for this car to come out, and when it does, I will definitely make a video, and we'll see if I was right or not, but I really hope I am. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.